Lore Together is proud to be part of the Boss Rush Games Network. Feel free to find out more at bossrushgames.com/network. Hi, I'm Safi.
And I'm Mystic.
And this is Lore Together. This is the podcast where husband and wife team go over all the world building, storytelling, and characters of video games. Because it's what we like to do together. We lore together.
Yep, and it's episode 98.
Getting close.
Yep.
So close.
Couple episodes away.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. We're waiting to hear back from people. So if you want us to hear from you, you can do that in many different ways. Through Twitter, Instagram, Mastodon, Reddit, YouTube, Steam, all those links down in the description. And also through email at loretogether@gmail.com. You can also contact us on Discord at the Boss Rush Discord.
Yeah, we hang out there a lot, actually.
Yeah. And if you'd like to support this podcast, and we hope you do, you can do that in a couple different ways. Thumbs up, thumbs, 5 stars.
How many thumbs do you think we need, honey? I'm confused.
All the thumbs. Give us a good review wherever you're listening. We appreciate it. And if you'll support the podcast monetarily, you can do that over on patreon.com/loretogether, where you can pay a per episode pledge to get early access to episodes, early access to Let's Plays, including Skyrim, Dragon Age starting up again soon, Starfield not so much, that's on hiatus, but Cyberpunk, apparently.
And our patrons voted for
Yes.
Cyberpunk, so that's why Mystic is doing that one.
And speaking of voting, you can vote for decisions and plot choices in our Mass Effect Let's Play that happens on the alternate Thursdays.
Yeah, you get to help decide what Lorena Shepard's going to do, who she's going to romance or not romance, possibly.
Currently it's Liara, so...
crowd favorite, goes through all 3 games. I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
So anyway, we appreciate if you join us in those places. So...
Yeah, we love talking with you guys. Some of our fans are some of the best, most thoughtful people that I happen to experience on the internet. So feel free to join the ranks. But we are here because it is spooky season and Mystic has promised me a spooky game. But in tone, not necessarily explicitly spooky.
This one kind of straddles the line a little bit. In fact, I wouldn't even call this a horror game in many ways. There's definitely horror elements to it. There is a huge supernatural bend to it.
Okay, so it's so supernatural makes me think that it's at least spooky adjacent, if not actually spooky. But it might not just jump out of a closet and go boo.
The funny thing is, the player character is the one who will probably be jumping out and saying boo.
Are we playing a ghost?
Yes. Does that give any hints for the game? This is not obscure, but it's definitely an old game.
Okay. Old game.
Almost 20 years now.
Punch in the gut. I'm not thinking of anything off the top of my head.
Ghost was actually a pretty good guess, because the game is Geist.
Oh, okay, yeah, I do remember hearing about this. Was this for the Xbox?
No. Kind of, but no.
Really?
2005 game, developed by N-Space, published by Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Though, despite the fact published by Nintendo, never released in Japan.
I guess it was a Nintendo America exclusive thing then?
Nintendo America kind of started the ball rolling on it we'll get there. But it's kind of a first-person horror, adventure, shooter, puzzle game?
It's a lot of descriptors you put in there.
Let's go with first-person adventure with horror elements.
Okay. But, of course, Geist, which... Geist, I don't have a dictionary in front of me, but for those of you unaware, Geist...
It's essentially Ghost.
It's ghost adjacent.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be more corporeal than a ghost.
I couldn't tell you that part.
Like in the spectrum of, you can touch and move the worlds to not. In my brain, I think Spectre, then Ghost, then Geist. But that also could be my White Wolf.
Yeah, I think Geist
knowledge.
literally just translates to a spirit. So
Okay. I'm overthinking it then.
This game has an interesting development history, as it should, being the second M-rated Nintendo game of all time.
Second of all time?
Yep. It came out after Eternal Darkness, which was the first mature-rated Nintendo game.
So they only do this for horror games.
No, there's been more since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at this moment in time, yeah. It took the horror games to break through that, I guess. I don't know. I'm just spouting stuff.
So development kind of was, it's an interesting thing. U.S. developer N-Space, I think they were based in Orlando.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Had heard Nintendo was looking for FPS games with a unique twist, because Nintendo is going to Nintendo, especially during this era. It was all about what can we bring that's really unique to our little cube,
Yeah. So it
couldn't just be a shooter. It had to be a unique aspect, or they did a basketball game with EA, but there had to be something unique for our console. And so Mario, Peach, and Luigi were in the basketball game.
Yeah. That's the thing about Nintendo, is that they really want to make sure that the IP is specific to Nintendo first and foremost, if they can, with a lot of their stuff. And unfortunately, when it was the N64 and the GameCube days, it became the go-to, this is a console for your kids.
A little bit. It had a little bit of that, despite the fact that both were more popular than their contemporaries in many ways.
Yeah, but I think it was more popular in a sense of we weren't at the...
Sorry, not popular. More powerful than their contemporaries.
Yeah, but I think we were also at the point where it was just emerging that there were people who grew up with video games who were becoming adults who liked the hobby. It was slowly becoming less of a kids thing.
Yeah, it was kind of also the trying too hard era in video gaming, where dark and edgy was just really dark and edgy. Lots of no colors.
Yeah.
Lots of browns, lots of grays. Lots of
dark material, like war.
Yeah.
War was a huge theme.
And these haven't disappeared, but gaming has grown up since, and you have more diversity in your offerings as a company, usually. And
we can discuss dark things without the game itself necessarily carrying an overtly dark tone the whole time.
Right.
Like What Remains of Edith Finch is a good example of that.
Yeah.
So I say this just because as somebody who was starting to come more into the hobby, like this is before I met you, Mystic, but I was getting into video games a little bit more, just more as an observer, appreciator of what I saw my friends play, and just noticing that, if you're thinking about it as an art form like we do, this was a time where it was a little bit more siloed in what your thinking was and what you could produce in a video game.
It was the period of finding itself.
Yeah, and we're going through those really rough adolescent years in the art form that was video games.
So N-Space had the idea of an Invisible Man game, where you basically play a character that is invisible, and one of the things you would do is mess with and manipulate other people. From there, eventually it kind of changed to being a ghost and actually possessing other people.
Wow.
They workshopped and prototyped this for about 8 months on Xbox hardware.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you can actually find videos of the Xbox prototype that was found in a development kit. And showed it off to Nintendo. And about 6 months after Nintendo agreed to publish a game, Shigeru Miyamoto suggested that they add object possession into the game as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Now, strangely, at some point, N-Space and Nintendo kind of realized that they weren't working on the same game. They're working on the same game, but they both have vastly different ideas of what they're doing.
The goals were totally different.
N-Space was making a first-person shooter with horror elements.
Yeah.
While Nintendo, fresh off the hit of Metroid Prime and its more adventure feel, really wanted to capture that slower-paced lightning in a bottle again.
Interesting. Okay.
So this led to delays until finally in 2005, the game came out 2 years after its original release date. Years after the fact, and after the developer has long shut down, they were never... N-Space was not what I would call a top-tier developer. They clearly had good people working with them, but they always had trouble just kind of nailing a hit.
Right.
So they did a lot of port work, porting stuff to consoles and stuff like that.
The stuff that will pay the bills while you're also working on your passion projects. That makes sense.
And it just those studios are dime a dozen. There's so many who just never make it to work on their big passion project. Mm-hmm. So, but we can look back on this game now and say it was definitely a good game.
Okay.
But not a great one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's held back more by technical aspects and performance problems in the shooter segments than it is by story or adventure gameplay.
Okay.
There are some aspects of it that's dated. There's subtitles.
Oh.
Not mostly because there's not always voice acting. Like, this is that era where you will get a couple lines and then a lot of text.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. Because it was just recently, once you started getting to some of that gritty stuff, there was then this realization that, well, if it's gritty, it's kind of cinematic. So if it's cinematic, we should put some more cinematic elements in there, which was really good voice acting. So,
and that's also a lot more time intensive. That's a lot more development intensive, especially for the real time, which they're all real time in this one. Mm-hmm. These days, a lot of people just do it in real time, or they do CGI that looks close to the real time. Like.
Right, exactly.
So we play as John Raimi. He is a 35-year-old civilian scientist and member of the counterterrorism team CR2. He's a silent type, which was not how they originally envisioned it. His character was planned to be a rougher, brutish type who would often speak and make wisecracking jokes. Shigeru Miyamoto kind of stepped in, preferring the idea of having a more intelligent, laid-back, silent type character. And when you're working with Nintendo, what Shigeru wants, Shigeru gets.
You're just going to do it. That's Miyamoto. Now, I will say, though, he's somebody who, maybe not always perfect with his decisions, but makes really good storytelling decisions in the aggregate.
He makes good gameplay level decisions that help the story.
Yeah.
I don't see him as somebody who really worries about story over gameplay.
I don't think he worries about story over gameplay, but I do think he worries about how the story is perceived by the player. And I think that's something, that's a skill that he has definitely honed in on very well. I mean, he is never going to be a writer. I mean, he is the reason why The Legend of Zelda took forever to have an actual established canon.
And why that is a messy topic.
Yeah, and why that's a messy topic. But I'm not surprised that he's the one who came in and perceived something that would at least be received by the player of the game better for Geist.
Yeah, in the end, though, it kind of comes across as a little bit like you're playing Wish.com Gordon Freeman. You know?
Well, but that's kind of intentional too, right?
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, the idea of the self-insert has, especially in this era of games, was very important. And there was a very narrow assumption of the kind of person who was playing the game. So instead of having variety, they were like, if we make them this blank slate of this type of blank slate, we should be good to go.
Now, regarding CR2, it's unknown whether it's owned by a government agency or if it's a private company. We don't know. In either case, it's a very well-equipped team of specialists who deal with biological and chemical threats.
Oh, okay. So, and this is set in
the U.S.
The U.S. Okay.
I believe. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll get to why I'm not sure on that actually in a moment.
Okay.
CR2 launches a slew of investigations into the Volks Corporation, headquartered in southern France. I don't know anything beyond that before you ask.
I don't know the geography of France that well. So don't.
You're sometimes a stickler for that type of stuff.
Yes, I can be a stickler when I know what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, you're getting away with a lot.
Volks Corporation is led by Alexander Volks. Not much is known about Volks Corporation, though, even to CR2, other than its operations being secretive in nature. Much of their research is suspected to center around things of a highly illegal nature, though, like biological weapons development.
Okay.
CR2 discovers through infrared scans. I love how the wiki called this radiological scans, and it's
clearly infrared.
They literally say it's infrared in the game.
Man, wiki letting us down again.
So it could be a translation thing.
Okay.
Because They did some weird choices with the voice acting in this game that I didn't expect. All the voice actors are American.
Okay.
Yet, if you play the European version, the American voice, they re-recorded the lines for a later thing to be Z instead of Z. They re-recorded a bunch of lines for that. And it's just like, why? Really?
Would that really confuse a European audience
I don't
that much?
know.
That's interesting.
I don't even know why there's that name difference anyway, but I'm sure I can look that up later. Anyway, so according to the infrared scans, the Volks property does appear to have a large complex of underground areas underneath it, which warrants some further investigation.
Oh no, this is starting to feel like Umbrella Corp.
During one of these investigations, undercover agent Thomas Bryson, who was incidentally Raimi's old college friend.
Whose old college friend?
Raimi.
Oh. Wait, who's Raimi again?
The protag, the hero. The
player okay.
Character.
Okay.
Yeah. John Raimi.
Did I miss...
We just named him.
Wait, I was listening so intently. I don't know how that...
Let's go back. We play as John Raimi. He is 35-year-old civilian scientist and member of the counterterrorism team CR2.
Okay. Thank you. I don't know. I think my brain skipped those 3 seconds. I don't know. I was sitting here. Did I look like I wasn't listening, Mystic, or was I listening?
I was reading the script. Don't ask me.
Okay. That was okay. I think I traveled through time very briefly.
So, Thomas Bryson, who is incidentally Raimi's old college friend, is captured by the corporation. Raimi and the CR2 team are sent in on a mission to recover Bryson and find out what the corporation is researching. The only clue they have from a garbled transmission is the word virus and another word, demon, though that's a little out there according to their analysis.
Virus, demon, I immediately think hacker attack.
We finally get to Bryson, which is comically easy. It literally cuts us from the chopper to outside his lab.
Oh, wow. Okay. There we go.
And they prepare to blow the door, but then they say we have to get out of here before they realize they've been hit. Like, you're underground in a lab. Nobody noticed the helicopter and the dozen guys up until you got to the door of a lab.
If this feels as organized as the episode of Pickle Rick, where he totally like infiltrates and messes with that whole establishment.
Yeah, so Volks just has terrible security. Like, at this
apparently
point, it has plot-based security. It gets better as the game gets harder.
Wait, let's think of it more as just for my own amusement. Let's think of it more as these are the things the Volks decided to spend money on. Volks didn't decide to spend money on security cameras that would alert you to a helicopter coming down on the facility, or guards, watchtowers, even windows for that regard. But we all know windows are an area of weakness, so I'll give him a break on that one.
Mass Effect callback. That's great. Nobody who hasn't played that game understands that joke, and we have patrons who have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, someday you're gonna laugh at this again, so I'm happy for you.
When we get to Mass Effect 2, make sure you come back for the context to Geist. To a one-line joke in Geist.
Yes, seriously.
Anyway, the virus is on a microscope. We can see it before we leave.
Okay, it's not a computer virus. It's a literal virus.
Yes.
Okay.
And it shows up. We get like a little display that calls it an ethereal virus cell from an unknown life form.
Ethereal? Ethereal.
Yeah.
Like
between the planes of between the living world and the afterlife is the ethereal plane. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, are we talking D&D terms here, or are we talking like descriptor? Are we talking about incorporeal, really, or?
Yes.
All of the above. Great.
It's kind of hard to pigeonhole it at this point.
Okay.
Just then, we hear an alarm from the base that intruders have been detected. It took their sweet time. Time to fight our way out of the labs, kind of get our tutorial for combat here a little bit. The mission back to the helicopter goes catastrophically wrong, however. as
Wow.
the CR2 team is ambushed by an unknown weird tentacled creature in the sewers, and most are killed off.
It's not a horror game if there's no weird, mysterious tentacles grabbing people in one of the opening shots.
It's true. Just as Raimi and Bryson are about to escape in the helicopter, basically they're being winched up to it.
Come on, bro, we can do this!
However, right as they're about to be extracted, one of the CR2 agents convulses and slumps to the ground. As another comes to check on them, they are shot through the chest multiple times by their fallen comrade. Shoving the dead body off, the soldier stands and shoots the other agents before shooting Raimi in the chest.
What? I'm sorry. I live, I die, I live again? What is this? What is this?
When Raimi wakes up, he finds himself strapped to a massive machine deep in the facility. He's facing downward, and far below a door opens, revealing what looks like a pool of red and orange of some sort. Tendrils of energy snake upward and pull Raimi's soul from his body.
So, until you got to the part where we're extracting souls, I was like, this is the beginning of Resident Evil 2 movie, right? Right?
Raimi's soul is taken and put into a simulation machine, which Volks uses to brainwash captive ghosts into spectral operatives.
Oh, wow.
This thing is some bad news. They've been using soldiers and mercenaries in until now, but they all kind of went insane with the training. Volks himself wants a scientist, someone different, to see if the tech takes better. We learn a few things, like how time slows down in our soul form, and also that we can possess creatures, in this case, a tiny little rabbit jumping through an idyllic meadow.
Why the rabbit? What did the rabbit do to us?
It's a virtual rabbit, don't worry about it.
Oh, it's a virtual rabbit. So
or
we're
a
not...
simulated rabbit, we could say.
Okay, so far we only possess simulations. How is this supposed to prove that we can possess a biological being? Look, I'm not happy either way. Let's just be honest.
Then this identification glitches and breaks as it tells us to ready our weapon, kill them, but it's clearly not supposed to be telling us that yet. It's kind of like skipping forward in the tape or the CD if you want to.
Suddenly it starts playing Donde está la biblioteca?
Unfortunately for Volks, before Raimi can be brainwashed, he is rescued by another ghost named Gigi, who possesses the machine, causing it to malfunction and explode.
So there's more than one spirit who's able to possess items in this base.
Yep.
Okay.
Gigi, who looks like a little girl, teaches Raimi how to possess objects and
Wait.
living beings.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you in the middle of your script here, but you said Gigi who looks like a little girl.
Yeah.
And I thought we were only testing this thing on soldiers?
We are testing that on soldiers, yes. Ghosts do exist beyond this experiment, though.
So the ghosts are attracted to this area?
No, we'll get there.
Ghostbusters box?
No, we'll get there. Objects are kind of fun. Honestly, possessing objects is a lot of fun. You get to interact with them all the time. You can, from a mop bucket to computers to shower heads, sinks.
You gotta explain to me the fun of being a mop bucket on that one.
Okay, so they all have actions and such. So the mop bucket, you can kind of like make it jerk and like do its squeegee thing.
Yeah.
Which could help us in possessing someone if stuff starts moving on its own.
Okay.
Because to possess something that's living, they have to be scared.
So you have to spook them first.
Yes.
And then the spook factor opens up something within them that becomes the...
Their aura changes and you can possess them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically when they're scared, they're more susceptible to being possessed.
Okay.
And this is kind of the puzzle aspect of what do I have available to me to scare the person I need to scare.
And is every person scared of the same thing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes it pretty interesting. I like that.
Yeah. And again, anything living has to be scared. The rabbit just kind of cycles to being scared because it is a rabbit.
Rabbits are...
But we
exist only there to be caught by bigger creatures, let's be honest.
We can possess other creatures, and of course we possess a lot of people during this. And that's kind of the horror aspect is we're the one causing the horror. We cause people to hallucinate. We cause people to see things. We cause things to jump and lights to spark and stuff.
But it's the only way that we have to interact with the world.
It's not the only way, but it's the main way we interact with the world.
It's probably the easiest way for us, I imagine, to interact
and of
with
course,
the world.
Each living host that we possess, objects have abilities, quote unquote, but people and all other creatures also have generally abilities.
Okay.
So, you possess a soldier, you get their gun. You possess a scientist, you can, get access to codes, you get their key cards, stuff like that.
Okay.
And
do you gain their memories?
Yes, if you possess a living host, you gain access to recent memories sometimes.
Yeah. That makes sense to me because you're only getting to a surface level understanding of them and their body.
Yeah. And when we possess something that isn't human, a rabbit, dog, whatever, our vision will change appropriately. Cool experience. There is an obvious question: life and death. What happens if a host dies? They die.
But you get to possess something else
And
entirely.
Raimi is just kicked back to the ethereal. But even when ethereal, he slowly loses his ability to remain, constantly being pulled to the afterlife.
Oh, it's kind of like he's, for whatever reason, playing around with nature.
Yeah.
Like, this is obviously something against nature.
Yeah, he must possess something or drain the life force from something to better secure his anchor to our world.
Now, how do you drain the life force from something?
That's usually plants. You just kind of suck the energy out of a plant, which, fair.
So you're a leafy vampire. You're a vegetarian vampire. Okay.
Back to the game. Gigi warns Raimi that Bryson is soon to have his soul separated as well.
Oh, no.
So now as a ghost, Raimi can use his new powers to infiltrate the Volks compound, possessing many soldiers, scientists, and even animals as he fights his way to save Bryson and regain his body. After a long fight, Raimi manages to kill Cord, one of the most formidable mercenaries of Volks Corp, and destroys the separation machine. Yay!
Yay!
However, the machine's destruction causes a dimensional rift to open. That's kind of that pool that I talked about.
Oh,
it was kind of like it was contained, but that's where that energy comes from, is a dimensional rift. This releases an ancient demon into the world.
Okay. And this is at a facility was this a corporation or was this a government who was doing all of this?
It's a corporation. Yeah.
Okay. There's a long history of video games that have a corporation who has decided playing with the natural balance of things, including possessed demons, is a great way to make profit. Who are these people in power and how do I get them to stop?
Alongside this ancient demon, many other demonic creatures soon begin pouring in from the portal, slaughtering anything they come across. So this game just took a turn.
So wait, now we have a little bit of Resident Evil and a little bit of Doom.
Yeah. The problem is that this is a Nintendo GameCube game, and the developer, for all they're trying, sometimes this doesn't quite land graphically. It doesn't quite hit with the gravitas you hope it would.
Yeah, I could see that.
So.
Yeah, I find it's less of a problem now with the Switch, now that the technology's gone so far ahead. Even though the Switch still isn't the most technologically superior one, it's so good, and they work within the limitations so well, I don't care.
Yeah.
But back during the GameCube era, that was not true.
Well, GameCube was also, we had transitioned to 3D, but now we were transitioning towards the HD era.
Yes.
And things were still in this really weird state of flux. There's a lot of engines out there. There's a lot of new developments in tech out there. Everything is still being... these days, all the consoles kind of have parity.
Yeah, I would agree.
They all kind of can look the same to a degree. The Switch being the lowest powered one, but...
It's not nearly as different. Like, if you can play Skyrim on the Switch.
Yeah. Does it look great?
Yeah.
No.
You were never going to play Morrowind or Oblivion on the GameCube.
No.
Yeah, that was
I was thinking which one came out which. Morrowind came out in the Xbox, so no.
Yeah, it wasn't going to happen.
Bryson is in bad shape through all this because of various injections to prep the person before they are subjected to the now destroyed machine. Yeah. Bryson needs a serum to counteract all these injections. He almost gets it,
Uh-oh.
When a nurse named Anna Richardson is tending to him, she attempts to administer the counteragent to counteract the drugs. However, Commander Rourke, head of security, appears behind her and startles her. She tries to reason with him. He's going to die. Let me give this to him. And he just slaps her to the ground.
Whoa.
And she falls to the floor. Basically, he just says, let him die. What does it matter? This machine's dead anyway. Like, the machine's out of commission.
I'm sorry. So we're just going to let people die because our computer wouldn't reboot correctly? I'm sorry.
Well, it's not like this thing is dead, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, right? Like, that feels like a misplaced decision.
Nurse Richardson comes to play again when Raimi possesses her in the locker room. Yeah, this game got an M rating for violence, blood and gore, and partial nudity.
So
there is a shower scene with bubbles. You possess a shower head.
I am so disappointed that we even have to discuss this, but here we are.
Yeah. He possesses her for quite a bit, having seen through her memories where the cure for Bryson is. On the way to the cure's location, however, the medical wing becomes infested with demonic entities that escaped into the mortal plane through this dimensional rift. So Raimi, still in Richardson's body, keep in mind, is forced to fight them off.
Wow. Now, in possession, does the person, like, realize what's happening? No. They just are... Is it like they black out?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember that aspect of it, but yeah. Finally, she...
Yeah, Richardson. Yeah.
Richardson... Raimi via Richardson rescues Bryson, gives him the serum. Raimi, as Richardson, does their secret friends handshake from back in college.
Wow. And now this is suddenly a romance between Richardson and Bryson right now. Like, that's just how that would right back in the day.
They established this handshake back in the first scene. So it's not like it's just coming up, but it's like, all right, I guess it's not even
Chekhov's loaded handshake right there. Okay.
Oh, they use this thing throughout. Like, every time you see Bryson from here on out, he's like, let me know it's you, just do the thing. Like,
yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's a good way to manage it, but I just find that hilarious.
Yeah, but, you know, they have to get Bryson out of the facility. So they do their secret friends handshake just before a guard barges in. Bryson slumps to the floor. Guard walks in. Guard starts approaching with gun. Bryson takes scalpel, cuts the guard's Achilles tendon.
Whoa, that's so gross.
And then stabs the guard with the scalpel.
No. I have nightmares about stuff like that.
Right, but then Raimi dresses Richardson in the guard's fatigues. So at least she has on not a lab coat and a dress. Actually, is it a dress? It could be slacks and a shirt. I can't remember off the top of my head. You do see her in a towel for half of her scene too. So
I am so uncomfortable with mentioning that, but I get it. This is how we wrote games back then.
So here's the weird thing. She's not the one you see taking a shower. That's somebody else entirely that you spook.
I'm so uncomfortable with how we write games.
The way that you freak out Richardson is you crack a mirror.
Oh.
Like, audibly crack a mirror that's near her, and she looks at it, and then you make her visualize herself with, like, I don't remember if it's blood or something. Like, she sees a horrible image of herself.
You give her a vision, and the vision is ghastly. Okay.
The pair make the way. This is Richardson / Raimi and Bryson.
I like the way you said Raimi via Richardson.
Yeah.
I think that's the right way to do it.
The pair make their way to an elevator to escort the weakened Bryson, because he's been through a lot. Like, Raimi's been through a lot too, but Raimi can access bodies.
Raimi's already dead, and he, in this point, has the advantage because of it.
Yeah. So they have to get Bryson out of the facility, but their plans are interrupted when a weird crustacean beast thing, I don't know what to call it.
You guys did not get to see Mystic try to like pantomime this. Crab people.
Basically drops onto the elevator, stopping it, and then just reaches over and just swallows Bryson.
What? Yeah. So wait, let me guess, do you possess the crab thing.
No, you have to fight the crab thing. Raimi does successfully kill the monster and does save Bryson in the process, which is actually a cool subversion of a trope because Bryson is like an African-American character. And I was like, he's dead. Nope. Like when I was playing this the first time.
So. That's a relief. But also, I thought it would have been cool if Raimi possesses the crab and then proceeds to go, puke it up.
I kind of glossed over it. There is, during a tutorial with Gigi, she tries to possess an adult, and she can't because the creature's bigger than she is. So you can't possess something that's that much larger than you.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. Okay.
Bryson and Raimi radio in for a helicopter and plan to evacuate, and also uncover a bunch of data about Project Z or Project Z, depending on where you're listening to the game.
Yeah.
It's a secret operation created by Alexander Volks, which will utilize his brainwashed ghosts, the spectral operatives, to assassinate or control many world leaders and plunge the world into chaos.
Okay, well, that sounds like a typical mad corporate takeover plot. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have to get this data back to CR2.
Yeah.
Bryson boards the chopper while Raimi decides to stay behind and locate his body. Like, I'm not going to take this soldier on there. Like, I'm here somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
As Bryson is flying away with Raimi in a soldier's body being like, good luck. Not good luck, but like,
yeah.
We see a being walk up onto a catwalk or something. I can't remember. This is known as the Wraith. It's kind of like a lower class demon, but it's in possession of Raimi's body and fires a rocket at Bryson's helicopter.
What? Bryson cannot get a break. Oh my gosh.
Believing Bryson to be dead and having found his body,
yeah.
like Raimi chases after the Wraith, but the Wraith does manage to successfully evade him. Raimi then stumbles upon an abandoned mansion. There, he reunites with Gigi, who reveals herself to be Alexander's younger sister, Gigi Volks.
Oh.
She explains her life with Alex in the early 20th century.
Oh, no.
How Alex was obsessed with demonic magic and the occult, and how she died in a tragic accident as she fell from a tree near their house onto a concrete surface.
This feels like now we're going into Tales of Berseria. So now we've got Resident Evil, we got Doom, Tales of Berseria. Like, this is getting really complicated.
When she died, Alex attempted to use occult magic to revive her, but only succeeded in separating her soul from her body. That's kind of why she's stuck.
Right, and she just needs to keep possessing stuff if she's going to stick around.
During this separation, though, a powerful demon was summoned and partially possessed Alex's consciousness.
Oh, no.
The demon, now controlling Alex, went on to found his corporation and research the separation technology. Basically, long-term goal, destroy human civilization.
Yeah, they do like to focus on that a lot, those demons, don't they?
After leaving the mansion, Raimi is yet again captured by Volks. This time, Volks vows to bring him under his control.
Okay.
Volks then reveals the operation to assassinate the world leaders and conquer the world will begin shortly as a world summit is happening. Usually, I mean, think like G20, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I guess so. That's never the whole world though. It's a place to start, I guess.
But think about who is at some summits, and you are more than halfway there with some of those leaders.
All I know that's there are some jerks who like to cut in line so they're in the front of the picture, but
Raimi is nearly brainwashed again via another training simulation, but manages to escape by basically breaking the simulation up himself. He breaks the rules.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't play it the way it's supposed to be played.
All right.
Now, with little time to spare, he encounters and possesses Rourke, giving him access to experimental armor and weapon systems. Yay! He faces off with the Wraith and manages to kill both the Wraith and Rourke. Bonus! Gets his body back.
Hey! I get to be alive?
Yeah.
Again?
But he can still kind of disassociate from his body, I guess. He can still, like, unpossess himself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So this reminds me of that, and we've mentioned this before, the sci-fi book that I read because you really liked it. It was
Lock-In
Lock-In
by John Scalzi.
And there's definitely a lot of moments where people can look at their own body, and it's very surreal. And even the people who are used to doing it for years have grown up like that. They just don't. Yeah. They're not comfortable with it.
Raimi then faces off with Volks' special operatives. He defeats them and puts an end to the Volks' plan to assassinate the world leaders. Basically, this whole project is now dead.
Yes.
Raimi then enters Volks' palace and meets up with Alexander himself.
Basically a vampire at this point, right? Just like hoarding power for a long period of time.
Alexander Volks reveals himself to Raimi as not really Alex, but rather a demon that possessed him all those decades ago. We kind of knew this already. Mm-hmm. Leaving the real Alex trapped inside the demon as a mere slave.
Oh.
Yeah, Alex hasn't really been in control of any of this for decades.
All right, that makes sense.
Raimi fights and defeats the possessed Alex, killing his body. Gigi prevents Raimi from killing Alex, but the demon's arm reaches out and pulls her inside, leaving Raimi to disassociate from his body and enter in his ghost form to chase after them.
Oh, wow.
Now in a demonic spiritual dimension...
I just see...
Did not expect this game to go there when I was playing it.
It's suddenly going very MC Escher in the way I'm imagining it in my head right now.
A little bit. A lot of floaty stuff, and not as cool as, like, the Fade in Dragon Age.
Yeah.
It's actually more arcadey. There's, like... Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Raimi enters the final battle with the demon. In the dimension, he grows considerably stronger. There's, like, you do have attacks in the spirit form, but you can only attack other things that are in the spirit realm, really.
Yeah.
So you can't really affect anything, quote, real. After a long fight, Raimi finally kills and defeats the demon, freeing both Alexander and Gigi's spirits. A wave of energy coincides with the demon's demise in the real world, and we see Anna Richardson still alive. This is not a guarantee in this game. We have gotten so many people killed as we possess them.
That's right, yeah. Because, oh man, that's insane.
Yeah. I just think I remember a couple scientists just biting it to turrets and stuff. Yeah. Alexander and Gigi reunite, with Alex being a young boy.
Oh.
Older than Gigi, but not the old man with weird tattoos and stuff that he is. Likely due to the possession decades ago, keeping him locked in his own body, his soul kind of stunted as a result. Thanking Raimi and bidding him goodbye, they fly to the afterlife. The entire Volks compound starts to crumble and fall apart, likely due to that wave of demonic energy.
Yes.
And Raimi manages to escape out to daylight, where he is rescued by Bryson in his helicopter, who survived the earlier attack.
Woo! Go Bryson!
They escape with Richardson and a dog Raimi possessed, because, come on, they weren't going to kill the dog.
No.
And they fly away from the compound. Go to credits.
Aw. And I imagine then it ends with a surfing trip, like the way Snakes on a Plane ends. Because this is just feels very outrageous, but I could see why it would be a fun game.
It is so it's kind of interesting. If you look at the critical response,
yeah,
it's a 6 or a 7.
Okay,
you know, if you look at the fan response, it goes from a 6 to like a 9.
Okay,
yeah, most people put it around an 8. It seems so not bad.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So again, it's also weird in that it's a horror game in that you're the person spooking people.
You're the haunted house.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like that dog, to possess the dog, you have to possess its food bowl and make the food go pow, like in front of it.
So what Mystic is saying is the spooky spirit was the friends we made along the way.
Do we have a secret handshake?
Absolutely. All right, so I guess I'm going to be playing this. Oh,
yeah, we're going to try to play it.
Okay.
We'll do our best. It is notoriously difficult to run through an emulator, so...
Okay. Do we have a backup if we do not end up having that? Or
different game.
Okay, then we'll post it on our socials, too.
It does run. I did check it, but apparently it just has a random error that just sometimes crashes.
Aw.
So it's kind of will it or won't it?
Okay.
In that hour. we'll find out.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm glad we did something that was somewhat Halloween themed. Yay. I love it when we do that.
And we'll catch you guys next time.
Yeah. I mean, this will be on the Thursday after this releases to public. We'll live stream the first hour of this. And as we mentioned, alternate Thursdays. Mass Effect with Lorena Shepherd. So.
Yep.
And since this is our last October episode, I hope everybody who celebrates has a fantastic Halloween.
Yep.
Get all the frights in that you'd so desire, and and have a great time.
And be safe.
Be safe. Eat lots of candy. November 1st is chocolate on sale day, guys. Like, take advantage.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening. Have a great one. Bye.
Bye.